I really believe that the reason this sort of narrative has taken off is not in small part due to the book Attached. I'm glad it got attachment out there in the mainstream, but I think it's also done a lot of damage.
It did.
But also, I think too, because so many therapists are often anxiously attached.
I just don't want the attachment strategy to be demonized. There's a good reason why people do what they do, and we really need to conceptualize and understand why folks do what they do.
Not just that there's a good reason for it, but they don't exist in a vacuum. I'm heated on this subject, right? Avoidance does not exist outside of anxiety and vice versa. People will talk about avoidance, not CETS. How to identify an avoidant. Almost like they're talking about how to identify a psychopath. So much of the discourse about it, just, a wounded bird who's just wanting to be loved. If it weren't for these horrible avoidants, who are out there to destroy people's world. And it's
Oh
so
yeah,
harmful.
just withhold love from them. Just
Yes. Yes.
play mind games to withhold love. You should hear the things I hear in my office. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Right. And coming back to what we were talking about earlier, so much of it is this sort of testing. Are you a safe person that I can share with? And often, if someone is particularly high on anxiety, that goes completely unacknowledged and ignored. So, I mean, that's just logical then. If someone is going to take this risk to share this with you and it's not noticed, or even worse, it's sort of, uh,
Dismissed.
yeah, then I mean, why would I continue to do that?
Tell me. I don't know. You tell
Yeah.
me. Doesn't make any sense to me.
But it really does become this sort of discussion about how people who are high on attachment avoidance are almost like intentionally trying to withhold and hurt and get joy out of it or something.
Yes, that will activate me in the office when I hear people say that.
I don't know if you've read the book Quiet. I think we've talked about it
You've
before.
talked about it. I haven't. No.
Well, and one of the things I love is it talks about US culture is very geared and focused toward extroverts, and how everyone basically wants to say, well, introverts, you should be able to, interact more and be more open and almost conform to an extrovert style. And I think it's very similar with avoidance and anxiety, right? Is avoidance, you need to get better at vulnerability and sharing and closeness. We rarely hear anyone talk about how people with high attachment anxiety need to also improve their own self-soothing, right?
Yes, those took the words right out of my mouth. The problem with that high attachment anxiety is that no matter what is given to help soothe it, it doesn't soothe the attachment anxiety, right? It's always changing what I need, how I need you to help me to feel better,
Mhm.
which
Yeah,
is a really difficult strategy. And truth be told, is withdrawers typically are trying to meet that need. It's really
absolutely.
interesting when you watch it. It's like the world of withdrawers, like, hey, I just want to like meet the needs and like try and make sure everything's good, like, but it to no avail that it just doesn't work out well, right?
Yeah. I like the metaphor of a colander. It's trying to fill and to give, but it's never enough. And that's why attachment growth for those with avoidance, we have to be comfortable regulating in the presence of distress
Yeah,
and hearing that's not helping me.
pretty, I think.
Yeah. On the other hand, people with attachment avoidance, it's not just about how your partner or other people need to meet your needs better. It's how you also have to learn to self-soothe. So if you feel comfortable sharing, if you can sort of track any experiences growing up that contributed to avoidance on that continuum.
I can give a few clear examples. Is when I did reach or when I did need somebody and adults in my life, like I got shut out. It was, there's no help here for you. And it was like, so inside of me, it was like, you're on your own, buddy. I've always felt like that. I've always been on my own. It's like, you're going to have to figure this out. Nobody's here. in high school, I remember, and I had a really bad background, and my family was heavily involved in drugs and different things. But one of the athletic coaches just approached me one day and he told me, "You have really good grades. You're going to get into school wherever you want to go. But unfortunately, we can't support you as an athlete going off to college. Like, we don't feel comfortable with that. We know so and so was arrested and this and that." And I remember now as I look back on myself going, wow, you're just a kid. I don't care if you were 18 or not. I was a kid just looking for help and just being told, these doors aren't going to open for you, son. You know, you have other opportunities. And I remember thinking to myself, nobody's here for me. You're not here to support or care. Nobody wants to intercede on my behalf, right? So asking for help and support, it just goes out the door. So I'm going to stay inside. I'm not going to share anymore. I'm going to figure it out. I'll figure it out on my own.
Oh, I felt that.
Yeah.
It's very celebrated and honored when to be able to do that, right? Because you're strong and you can, take care of shit and whatever. But
Yeah.
also it does have this, health effect over time where you're not connecting with people. That's where, men get a lot of body issues, chronic pain, cardiac issues, is because you're not connecting. And it feels good in the moment to be protected, but then recognizing over time that it's actually harmful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know a lot of the research now, just holding things in and suppressing them, it goes to the body. It's got to go somewhere.
Yeah. One of the things, and tell me if you've observed this, but I think sometimes when we think of men who are avoidant, their strategy is almost tacit compliance, where it's just like, okay, sure, yep, you're right. Where they're kind of checked out, but it's just like, yeah, whatever. A good, safe place to begin is finding close friends that you can try out some of this vulnerability to have that connection.
Yeah. Hopefully a safe other person starts to give more presence, but sometimes you can just sit next to people. You don't have to get too close. You don't need to overwhelm the system anymore. Sometimes a good presence and just being close is helpful, as long as there's no expectation of me.
Yes, exactly.
Does that land better with you?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
what often happens, right, is the pursuer, the anxious partner, what's wrong? What happened? Did I do something? And it becomes, I have to soothe you now.
Correct. You're getting down to the nitty gritty now. It's tough.
Yeah.